What's up out there? Welcome back to some more Melvor Idle, and we are going to look at the Atlas of Discovery today. I don't have any script or notes or anything. We're just going to talk about the expansion so far. So I did a stream to start this whole thing, and then I've basically not done any videos since. We did a little bit for the birthday event, but I haven't really been doing any content for this on purpose to some degree. So I didn't want to get spoiled on anything. So especially in the cartography section. So we're going to talk about cartography here in a minute. So if you don't want spoilers, you're probably going to want to click off whenever we switch over to it. But I wanted to enjoy the expansion for a little bit. I wanted to soak it in and absorb it. This expansion feels a little different. What do you guys think of it so far? I'm enjoying it. It is different though. It is not like the base game, and it is not really like the Throne of the Herald. I think the Throne of the Herald had a little bit more of let me start over. The base game was a little bit linear. So basically you would come through the combat areas, then you would switch over to the Slayer areas, and each one kind of built on the next. And then at some point you would start busting into the dungeons, and these kind of followed a funnel at some point. Once you got into the air god, you'd go air, water, earth, and fire, and then you go through into the mist. Then you come back into some Slayer areas to Dark Waters on Hallowed Wasteland, and then back over to Impending Darkness. Then once you kind of got done with that, you would bounce back and forth between Slayer areas and dungeons in the Throne of the Herald expansion. So you would run the Jungle Labyrinth for a little bit, unlock things for the Ancient Sanctuary, and back and forth and back and forth. And then you would be going through and beating the game. This one's a lot different. Like, you cannot get into any of these areas unless you found this stuff in cartography. So you can't do any of the content in this expansion until you've done something in cartography, not even archaeology. Like, you can't start anything unless you funnel through cartography. I think that's an interesting choice. I've enjoyed cartography quite a bit. I was hoping that the map would be randomized, but apparently the map is the same for everybody. You just might start in a slightly different area, which is fine, whatever. But I was kind of hoping everything would be randomized a little bit. And I've spent a lot of time working on cartography and a lot of time working on archaeology. I am kind of just now, I'm working my way through the different combat areas. I think I still have to do these Slayer areas. Yeah, because I haven't really worked on these yet. And then I've gone through the dungeons up to this one. I did the Cult Ground, so I've completed that 235 times. I completed the Trickery Temple, 166. Basically, what I was doing is going into these until I got all the items, and then I would move on to something else. Now, I probably need to get pets and stuff out of these, so there's other things to do. And I still don't have the underwater city yet. I have not found Melantis over in cartography yet, so I can't do the underwater ruins either. But I've been able to do everything else so far, and that's kind of where we are. I've had some people asking about barrier videos and maybe some videos for this crystal stuff. I've not quite gotten there yet. I mean, I just haven't spent the time. And quite honestly, I'm finding this a little difficult how to tackle, because I'm playing this on my completion account, right? So I've got everything in the game. I have access to all the stuff in the game that I could want. And anything that I get from this expansion is just extra stuff to do or extra stuff to use. So I'm having a little difficult time trying to figure out what to do with barrier and stuff like that, because I kind of just overpower everything and move on. Now, I will say I have not been working on the Herblore potions, and I have not been the synergy. I'm not running that synergy and stuff that we get with the turtle or whatever, because I think the turtle synergy does some stuff with this. I just haven't got there yet. Like, I need to farm up some of these so you get extra barrier damage, familiar damage, 50% to the barrier. So I just don't have enough of these gems to use. So that's kind of where I'm at. So I've just kind of brute forced through some of this stuff. And once you break this barrier off, then you're kind of done. Like, you just start mowing these creatures down, and that's that. But I don't know. I need to sit down and focus on this, because like I said, I've just kind of brute forced some of this stuff. Like on my magic build, I'm running the summoning gear we get from the Throne of the Herald expansion. And I'm running some different, I'm running the same thing on my range. I don't know why I'm running this stuff here. Like, this stuff seems inferior. So like I'm doing 430 max hit for summoning. If I go over here and switch out, what do we got? The hood, the gloves, the amulet should be, there's the ring. Where was the amulet? That thing. So if I switch all that stuff out, now I'm doing 1058. Like I'm just instantly hitting way harder with this, the gear that you get from the Throne of the Herald. So this is where I'm having trouble, because why would I recommend anything else that hits far less hard? You know what I mean? So I'm just kind of struggling with that. And we have been getting some cool stuff in here. Like we got some barrier burn shields. We got some barrier touch stuff. We got these gems we can put on. So it's kind of cool. And there's some other, widgets and gadgets you can use. But like I said, this setup here, I mean, this is what you get from the Throne of the Herald. Where do we get that out of? The Necromancer's Palace, I believe. Yeah, you get this whole set out of the Necro Palace. So I'm kind of struggling along with how to talk about barrier. Well, I need to really sit down and look at what gear we get. I've been collecting a bunch of gear. So I've got all this stuff here for the barrier side of things. I've got all this stuff for the unholy stuff, which, sorry if you don't want to see any of this. We're getting into spoilers here. Big spoiler tag. We're going to start talking about all this stuff. So all this stuff is unholy. And one problem that I had with the Throne of the Herald expansion is we get this cool summoner suit, but then just didn't ever have a chance to use it. Like we needed all other gear for all the other dungeons. So now this seems to be better for this expansion, and all of a sudden we don't need any of this expansion stuff. So I kind of feel a little bit mixed about this expansion. Now, again, this is me coming at this from a full completion account, so I've got access to everything. I've got all the other expansion stuff done. I mean, we've got the full superior cape of completion here, to get all the bonuses and extra stuff that comes from the base game and the Throne of the Herald. So I'm struggling with how to explain it. I'd like to start over, but then that's like a huge commitment to playing it to get back. Now, on this topic of starting over, if I were to restart, say, hardcore combat only or something, cartography would be a huge skill to take. If you go, big spoiler alert if you don't want to see this, but if you go into cartography, there's the map. And if you go under this hex mastery, look at all these bank rewards you get. Like you get tons of bank slots. So there's 60s, 80, 90, there's like 100 bank slots right there. Like that's huge. You know what I mean? 100 bank slots is just massive. And I don't know why I don't have Melantis. I'll totally sidetrack here. I started going through all the different water stuff here. I don't know where it's at. Maybe it's over here somewhere. I'm not sure, but I don't have it. And I don't see the little exclamation point. So I didn't get it at some point. And I don't really want to know where it's at. I'm not asking. I'm working through this as I get bored of combat. I go through here and run it in here. But so I don't know where Melantis is yet. I thought it might be out here by this thing. So I started searching and I don't know. Anyway, if I was to start with hardcore, I would definitely do cartography first. I think I would be focused on getting cartography first because that's a lot of bank slots. And if you get these hexes, all this done, that's a lot of 5% global skill XP, 5% global mastery, 10% global gold. Like these are really good bonuses. And if you get the whole thing done, like this would take a while to get done, but you get minus 3% interval for all non-combat skills and minus 3% attack interval. That means you speed up all your non-combat and combat stuff a decent chunk. It's not nothing to sneeze at. And in addition to that, if you land on some of these spots, like you get bonuses. Like I thought these bonuses were really cool. Like if I go to the Molten Peak here, I get 10% chance to apply burn, 10% chance to ignore burn, and 10% chance to ignore frost burn. So right there, I mean, I just happened to click on that, but that's a very practical one for, say, these Slayer areas where you've got all this burn and stuff to deal with. So I think that's really cool. I mean, you've got some really cool benefits to some of these areas. Not everything gives you, I think it must be all these stars that give you the rune preservation, max magic hit, magic accuracy, magic evasion. So like if you're going to park on something for magic for a while, you could put that on. I'm going to guess it's all these stars that do that. Yeah. So that's cool. I like how this is done. Cartography, upgrade interval, preserve resources in cartography, and chance to preserve dig site excavation action. So I probably need to do that when I do mapping stuff. And yeah, I haven't really looked at all these. There's some more herblore and stuff, non-combat stuff. I think this is very cool. I like this. I like this a lot. I think they added some really cool stuff in here that you can travel around for and get some nice bonuses. I don't see a melee one right off the top here. Auto eat threshold. Yeah, not seeing a melee one. There should be, I think. But anyway, yeah, I really like this. I love the whole map. I've not really looked at what modders are doing. I haven't seen if anybody's done anything with modding for this or not. But I love the way this is. The one big complaint, and I actually saw some people complaining about this too. I think I was looking at Reddit one day. I've really tried to do a complete blackout and not read much of anything. I haven't really looked at the wiki for this. I haven't really looked at Reddit or Discord or anything. I've been trying to avoid everything. But one thing I did see is that people complain about this create dig site map section was in here, and I concur. That should be something differently. Like cartography map, or like cartography should be in two sections. Either you've got the map or you've got the dig site map part. And what I would like to see is either two sections here. I think somebody said put cartography up under passive and then put the mapping part down here, which would be fine, or include the mapping part with archaeology. I think if there was something to where you could, if you were in the dig site mapping section and it defaulted to that instead of the map, I think that would be better. Because right now you default to the map and then you have to click to the dig site portion. So if you're on mobile, it kind of sucks. You got to wait for everything to load and then you got to come in here. I like this idea here. I like going through here. You select your dig site, you create your paper, you come in here and do your creation, and then you can add these refinements. I've been enjoying this. What was I working on? Some of these higher tier ones. I added a whole bunch of these things. Like you get 6 refinements to these after you've made them perfect. You can put a whole bunch of refinements on them. So if you're looking for something specific in archaeology, like if you wanted to just focus in on one particular thing, like tiny and small or whatever, you can put all your bonuses into that. You can like double things, get extra XP and stuff like that. So I thought that was really cool. Once again, I have everything but the Melantis thing opened up. That's the only one I don't have. But I don't have all my items yet either. I haven't worked on all these. I've worked on a lot of them. So like this one's done here. I've got everything, but this one, I just need these large. I'm missing one there, missing one here on that, on the small. So I tried to just turn the ones on that I need. So like this one, I don't have any tools selected because I've already found everything on it. This one, I need these first 2 tools because I need something out of those sections. So that just like a little placeholder, just an FYI, if you're wondering what that is or think that's a cool idea. I liked it. I thought it was a pretty good idea myself. So that tells me what to go into. Museum, I've got a whole bunch of stuff in here. And as far as cartography, well, we looked at cartography. I've got 300 hexes down. So I've gotten 30, 40 bank slots out of this thing. And, you know, we were looking at this stuff earlier here. I've got all the unholy stuff. Well, I shouldn't say all the unholy stuff. I've got a lot of the unholy stuff. I've got a lot of the barrier goods. One thing I didn't notice is if you go over to alt magic, you've got unholy offering, which turns these things into holy dust. And there's the dust there. I also didn't notice that this cursed offering creates this cursed dust. I thought I had to get all this from combat because you need this to upgrade some things. So I found that in here. And I thought there was another one, but the barrier dust. So you can make that stuff. So the construction side of everything, crafting things, like you got to get this crystal and stuff like that. And then you go over to smithing, and then there's all this stuff to smith out. You got the bars and the aeronite bars, the dark steel bars, the imbued bars. I haven't really spent a whole bunch of time on. I did create all the crystal gear, and I did create all of everything I could here. I don't think I can do the relic shield yet. I don't have the relic plating, but I created everything else. And then there was nothing in thieving. I think I've got most of this stuff here. Yeah, I've got all this stuff made. I don't have dark steel arrows. Must not have dark steel. But for the most part, I've been creating almost everything in here. If I get the parts for it, I go ahead and create it and, start upgrading whatever. So that's kind of where I'm at. I think I got all, like, there's not much here. What I don't know is what you're supposed to do with this unholy stuff. And I'm not looking for somebody to tell me, because I presume this unholy stuff is going to get used in Melantis or something like that. I'm not looking for spoilers on this. But I did notice that if you go into the prayer side, there is this unholy prayers that you can use, which I have not bothered with yet. I haven't tinkered with them. I just haven't put anything on yet because I'm working on this barrier stuff. What I'm hoping is that the crystal stuff, or not the crystal, but the unholy stuff, because the crystal stuff we actually use for these crystal caves and these crystal depths. Again, I haven't really gotten into them. I've got all the crystal gear, so we can go lock that thing. I've got all the crystal gear right here. Everything's upgraded. I went through and did all that. So I just haven't really focused on the other stuff because I've been working on the barrier type stuff. So I've been trying to knock out all this stuff, which I can get away from this guy now, and we can go to this thing, fight this thing for a little while. So what I'm getting back to this whole conversation, we've got the crystal gear, which looks like there's a couple of Slayer areas that need crystal stuff used on. And then we've got all the barrier stuff, which so far, all of these areas have had barrier monsters. So I've had to deal with barrier stuff in all of this. These Slayer areas, now the crystal stuff does have barrier, but they also have the crystal things on top of it. So there's 2 areas to go fight some creatures out of. Okay, cool. And then in here, all of these are barrier, but like I haven't done the underwater city yet, but none of this stuff has the crystal stuff in it, and nothing's used the unholy. So I'm at a loss as to what all the unholy stuff's for. Like I said, I don't really want anybody to explain it. I want to see what it does myself. I'm just kind of making a video right now. We're just chatting. But my concern is that we're going to have all this unholy stuff, and there's a lot of unholy stuff in here. Like, that's a lot of stuff. My concern is that we're not going to have anything to do with this, or that it's not going to benefit very much. Now, like I said, I'm also coming at this from a full completion account, so maybe if I was to take this stuff into Throne of the Herald or something like that, it might make some interesting combinations for combat and gearing and stuff like that. I don't know. With as much stuff as we've got with both expansions, I kind of do want to start over, but I kind of don't. Like, I don't really want to do it all over again. But at the same time, I kind of do, because there's so much cool stuff and there's like so many opportunities here to do different things. So I don't know. But overall, like I said, I've been enjoying this expansion. I'm having fun playing it. I like the stuff that I see, but I'm a little concerned that this seems a little scatterbrained in some ways. Like, the cartography is cool. You have to go through all of that to do anything else. But then once you get through that, it kind of unlocks everything. Like, once I unlocked all this stuff, I've just been going through and killing it all off. I just haven't got to the crystal stuff here. And then I've finished off all the dungeons so far and collected everything out of them. And, I'm kind of working on completion now and just finishing off these monsters. Like, this is the last area that I have to go into before I'll start looking for Melantis again. And, it's cool and all, but I'm not disappointed in the expansion. It feels weird. It feels odd. So what do you guys think of it? Are you guys enjoying this? I'm having a good time with it. I'm curious to start the Relic game mode. I know people keep asking about when I'm going to do that. It's on the list. I had a work trip last week that I was out for, and I am now back, and I don't have to worry about any travel or anything. So I will be doing that soon. It's just not going to happen for another week or 2. I'm going to do a live stream when we start that, but I wanted to get more of this. I wanted to get enough of this done so that I could get a feel for how the expansion played out and what all cartography did and archaeology and all that, and I've got a good idea for it. There will be more videos coming. At some point, I will get off my lazy ass and do stuff for cartography. We'll do one for archaeology. I'll start doing some stuff for the combat things. Like I said, the combat is a little interesting for me to figure out because I have all this stuff at full completion, so I'm not sure what gear choices I would make given that I was limited, if that makes sense. Because if you're approaching this from the very beginning, you're going to make totally different choices than when you have full in-game gear of Vorloran stuff that you can just swap on and beat the hell out of everything in here. So anyway, I just wanted to drop a video, and I'm I'm still playing. Don't worry. I'm still playing. I'm just gathering thoughts and trying to figure out how to present the information. So anyway, that will do it for this video. We will catch you on the next one. Take care.